Okay, all right. So it looks like we are live. I had to reboot the computer. Computer was not seeing my signal from my Magewell device, so I had to reboot. The computer. Pause this. That's the first time I had to do that. I was thinking maybe maybe my Magewell device, the interface that the HDMI goes into, and then it goes USB into the computer. Thought maybe that had finally burned up because it runs kind of hot. But I restarted the computer and now it sees it again. At least it seems to be seeing it again. So it just wasn't, when I was selecting it as my camera, it shows up as a webcam in the Hangout. When I was selecting it as a camera, it wasn't showing it. It was there, but it wasn't getting the signal. But it looks like it is now, and it's crisp and clean. So a different topic. And we'll talk about some watch stuff too if you want to, but different topic to start out with. There's a lot of discussion about the border wall, and some people say it's a bad idea, we don't need it. Some people say that, wall with other security is like the best way that you can have security. So there's debate. There's people that have beliefs on both sides. And some of the people that are against it talk about the cost and talk about how it's a negative thing, and they come up with various reasons why they're against it. I think that securing the southern border could be made a positive thing, and I gave a solution years ago when the healthcare thing became a big thing, and affordable healthcare for everybody was the desire. And of course, there was debate about that as well, and the costs and all this. And the problem is that the government, generally speaking, is not efficient. It's the opposite of efficient. And that's why costs are so high when they get involved in things. So on the healthcare thing, I came up with a very easy solution, several parts to it. One is you get rid of all the lawsuits when they sue doctors for medical malpractice, and doctors have to pay out millions of dollars. You get rid of all those lawsuits. You hold doctors and nurses, any caregivers, harmless from lawsuits. So if they make a mistake, they can't be sued. They can be disciplined in other ways. They can be fired. There can be other consequences, but they don't get sued, and the lawyers don't get rich. The person who, if there's a mistake done on you and you have an injury or whatever, maybe you get some compensation from you set up a fund to compensate people at fixed amounts for different things. And so you compensate them, but you get the lawyers out of the equation, okay? So that's one big expense that you would cut out of the healthcare pie. See, the healthcare pie, if I spend $1 on healthcare, a certain amount of that goes to the doctors and nurses, very small amount. And then a lot of it goes to insurance companies and lawyers and other lobbyists and other people that are not giving any care at all. And so if you can get those entities out of that dollar, get their hands out of the till, then people can get a lot more healthcare for their dollar. Just makes sense to me. So you get rid of the lawyers, get rid of the insurance companies. Then the other thing that you do is you give a lot of incentives for people to get into that business. You're already going to have more incentives because they know they're not going to get sued and they don't have to carry medical malpractice insurance at great cost. So that's already some incentives built into what we just talked about. But then the next thing that you do is you make it so doctors and nurses like RNs, so on, they don't pay any federal income taxes. Okay, so now their tax burden is lowered dramatically. So what's going to happen is more people are going to want to get into that business. So what happens when you have more supply of something? Prices go down, okay? So you take these steps until you get to the point where there's so much supply of high quality medical care and the costs are affordable, so people can literally pay for it when they need health care. Imagine that. Imagine going to your doctor and actually paying for it and getting the health care that you need and it being affordable and not being like $25,000 a night to stay in a hospital. This could all be done with just those few things I just mentioned, but the government, they're not going to want to do that because all these lawyers and all these insurance companies, they're all their buddies. They've all got their hands in the till and they're all paying off the politicians. So that's why we have the status quo. Okay, so let's move on to the border wall. So the border wall, a way that we could do it that it would basically cost no money to the taxpayers and it would actually be a net positive is we being the government has the authority to secure land along the border, any of the land that's privately owned, some of it's privately owned. They can secure that land. They could just up and take it, eminent domain. And so they take a swath, let's say, doesn't have to be that wide, let's say 250 feet wide, 250 foot wide swath along the border, the portions that need to be secured. Let's put it that way. Some areas are already secured, but the portions that aren't, you get this 250 foot wide swath of land. You take that 250 foot swath and you build, not only do you build a 30 foot tall wall, concrete reinforced wall, but you build the initial foundation, a slab, for construction of a home along that wall. So that basically becomes a row of townhouses. The whole length of the wall becomes homes, shops, businesses, warehouses, whatever you need. And so what the government does is the government builds the infrastructure, runs the sewers, runs the electricity, runs the fiber optic cables along this swath, and basically preps it for private contractors to come in and build the homes and the businesses and the different things that would be needed, of course, to support all of that. So it basically becomes a development that's a long, thin development, if you will. It's got a road, just one lane each way. Every, let's say, half mile or so, you have a gate, entrance into the country, right, with the border security and stuff. And so basically, this all becomes a development that the government, what they do is they give long-term leases to the developers to build the homes and or other businesses, and it's very cheap, very low cost, because they got the land for nothing, okay, basically. They're going to get it cheap because it's not worth that much down there. They do reimburse, when they take the land, but it doesn't cost much. Okay, so it's very low cost. So basically, this whole thing, when all is said and done, you end up with a massive development that is a positive thing for the southern border, brings business and commerce, and you could even have the roof that faces south. You have the 30-foot wall, and then you have an angled roof on top of that, right? That could all be solar panels, the whole length facing south, so that the whole thing generates its own electricity. So you could do it very efficiently. And because you're building at such scale, your costs, for each segment are lower because you're doing it at scale. So you could even have low-income housing built into the mix, where a certain percentage of the houses have to be for low income. You would really enforce no drugs, no nothing. Everybody would have to play by the rules, or you'd be kicked out. You wouldn't want this to turn into a slum like a bunch of low-income housing areas do. You want it to be, high quality, clean environment, like a gated community type of thing, really nice. And so that retirees will want to be down there. Very positive development. So basically you could end up with an extremely secure border because you'd have people down there as well. And you could have cameras every so often on the wall. So if somebody starts coming, these people that are against the wall say, well, 30-foot wall, they just get a 35-foot long ladder. Well, if somebody's coming across with a 35-foot long ladder, you're going to see it on the camera and the guy's going to get arrested, right? So that's not really a problem. And a lot of these people that say that walls don't give good security, you go to their private home and they've got a wall around their property. And so I guess they think it's good there. And it's not even 30 feet tall. So basically you could solve the problem as far as illegal immigration, drug traffickers, human traffickers coming across the southern border. You could pretty much solve that problem with a development along the entire southern border and turn it into a positive. Have it be a very nice development, very nice homes, and some businesses. Like I say, you could have, basically the contractor only has to build, 3 walls, the 2 side and the roof, because the base foundation, what they could do is when they build the back wall, they could build the floor, basically the slab. They wouldn't have to have basements or anything, because down there you don't need any basements, and you typically don't have them in the South. So it'd just be a slab, right? But it would be it would have conduits and all for the plumbing and all of that, all be pre-set up, so that the contractor just comes in and just finishes it off, puts the side walls, if he wants to come out a little further, because, optionally pay a little extra, come out a little further, he just extends the slab out. And, let's say that the default is 30 feet out from the wall, right? So it'd be a 30-foot deep home, which is plenty. And then they could have different widths, right? So some homes could be 60 feet long, some would be 40 foot long, depending on what the contractor wants to do and what he wants to build. And so it would be a really good make work project where a lot of people could get creative and build interesting developments along there. And it would end up costing nothing, because you'd build your tax base and you'd get lease payments. So let's see. Offer home to vets and military families. Absolutely. And government workers that can work remotely, you'd have fiber optic all along there, so everybody would have high-speed internet. So government workers that can work remote could be given homes at cheaper prices. They could rent homes to Mexicans. Absolutely. You could have, like you say, you could have an entry point. You could have an entry point, like I say, about every half mile or so, a place where they can come in and out from Mexico. And you could have people that are vetted and all, that would, of course, have passes and everything. And that absolutely, they could live on the American side of the border and rent one of these homes, or buy one and work on that side and go back and forth. I think it would be a really cool development. Why are medical bills so expensive than other countries? Well, I mean, the quality of medical care here is a lot better than most countries. So that's one reason. But the other reason is all the lawyers and all the insurance companies that I mentioned. And people have a lot of money here, so that people can afford to pay a lot of money. Lots of buffering. Oh, shoot. What the heck is going on? What the heck is going on? It looks like I've lost the broadcast. For crying out loud. It says I'm live on the Man, we're having some technical difficulties. I think people are jamming me. I think the government is jamming the broadcast. This is really weird. I've never had this go on. It's going, Craig. It's all good. It's jamming the broadcast. Okay. All right. So I don't know what was going on there, folks. All right. Let me get caught up on the comments here before they shut this thing down completely. Okay. Do you invest in gold bullion? I have some gold and some platinum and some silver, but not much. I don't think that's a good way to go. It doesn't hurt to have some, but I don't think that's the best way. Durr says video is frozen, but I guess maybe it was only him. Let me know in the comments if how's it looking for the other folks. Why are medical bills so expensive than other countries? I think I just addressed that. They could put landmines around the wall, problem solved. Yeah, I mean, they could take measures. I mean, people make light of it and they joke, but I mean, people who have loved ones that have been killed by drug traffickers and other criminals that have come across the southern border, they don't think it's that big of a joke, I don't think. Then you could rent those homes to Mexicans. Hi, Craig. Okay. Hello, David. You got your email. Both great points, Craig. Offer home to vets. Okay, we talked about that. Low-income housing. Low-income housing kills the communities. You lose your tax. Well, see, but that depends on how it's run. If you run it with an iron hand, you don't allow the drug dealers in there. You don't allow a lot of, like people spraying graffiti or whatever. I mean, it'd be like a one-strike rule. I mean, you screw up, you're out of there. It would have to be very firm, and it would have to be people that have good character, but they need a helping hand. There's a difference between people that are slime balls and lazy bums and people that have good character but just need a little bit of a helping hand. And so the low-income housing would go to the latter. It would go to people that have good character and they're not going to be a negative on the community. I mean, you see these documentaries about drug use in like Philadelphia and these places where they have all these like condemned buildings where these people are in there shooting up, and the cops know it. The cops go in there and talk to them and stuff. Here's the thing. They don't really want to end all that because they could end it in 2 weeks' time. They could end it. They could lock all those people up. They could clean that all up. They don't want to end it because it's make work for them. Why do you think the police are in business? All those people are keeping them in business. If they didn't have all those criminals around there, they wouldn't have to have one of the biggest police forces in the country. Philadelphia has a huge police force. And so does Washington, D.C., has a huge police force, right? If they didn't have all those junkies laying around shooting up, they wouldn't need this huge police force, right? So I think half the time they don't want to solve it because it's make work for them. They could clean that stuff up if they wanted to. Okay. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. They should build Trump University along the wall. Well, there you go. Absolutely. Your stream is fine, Thomas says. You're on. Okay. Craig, what's going on? My stocks are down. Yeah, stock market is not looking good. This could be a long downturn. Have a strong hand. And when you think it's hit bottom, and it's always hard to know, buy some more. I've got some powder dry ready to buy when I think it's low enough and cheap enough. I'm looking at Apple stock right now, I'll tell you the truth. And I usually don't buy individual stocks, but if Apple gets beat up much more, I might actually do it. Your stream's fine. It's good here. Okay, great idea, Craig. Unfortunately, it would have to be in California where taxes are the highest. California has to drop taxes, and with current politicians not happening. Oh, well, like I say, this is a perfect way to solve the problem, but it's not going to happen for the same reason the healthcare reforms that I just outlined are not going to happen, because government likes big government. Government doesn't want to put themselves out of business. And if you do some of the things I'm talking about, it's going to put a lot of government out of business because they won't be needed anymore. And they like to be needed. The live stream is good, Craig. I may have been in a bad area with my reception. I'm on my phone on the road. Okay, there you go. Air tax coming next. There's already a lot of taxes on air travel. There's a tremendous amount of taxes on that. I don't know what you're talking about. That would be very hard to police. No way! There'd be people all along there. It would be inhabited. You could even have it be as a part of the deal. If you give somebody like a deal on housing, they could volunteer a certain number of hours to, like, patrol the area. Like, what do they call that? Neighborhood watch, that type of thing. And then, of course, you could have a lot of cameras, and the cameras could be monitored by the check stations, which would be every half mile, right? You could have camera feeds coming into there, and so they can keep an eye on things. So it would be a very high visibility situation. It'd be pretty hard to commit a crime. I think it'd be a lot better places for criminals to go to commit crimes than along there. I mean, I think they'd get caught pretty quick. That's good in theory, but it would never work. That low-income housing would turn ghetto in a second. No, not like I said, not if you get the right people. There are decent people that are poor. All poor people are not thugs and losers and so on. Some of them are very good people. They just need a little bit of a hand up, not a handout. And some of them will work hard and be responsible. And if they're not, you get them the heck out of there and you get somebody else in there. I've never been a gun person, but I'm seriously considering getting a shotgun, a handgun, and a concealed carry permit. Wow. Where do you live? Looks fine here, Craig. No buffering here. You look good here. Here you good. Okay. Good. Okay. Don't get into the gun game, man. Why would they shut you down? No guns. Well, I mean, I'm talking about some things that the government might not like to hear, like the fact that they're very inefficient, and the fact that these two major problems that this country is facing could be solved very easily. They don't want to hear that. They want to say that it's very difficult. It takes a lot of time to do this stuff. We just need more money. And they like to use the term resources. We need more resources, right? That sounds better than just like diving into your pocket and taking more money. So they always make a big deal out of everything, right? And now they're talking about $5 billion, right, to build the wall. And of course, Democrats don't want to give it to Trump because they hate Trump and so on, right? But $5 billion is like a drop in the bucket as far as the money they spend every year. I mean, it's insane how much money they spend. It's totally ridiculous, right? And they love it. They love spending your money. So they're not going to like hearing the kinds of things that I'm saying. They don't want to hear it. So there you go. And here's the thing. If they did what I'm talking about, they could give us all a nice watch for Christmas a year from now. They'd have enough money saved up, left over from all the money they're wasting now. They could buy us each. They could give us a choice. Okay, you can get a 36 mil Datejust. You can get a Grand Seiko Snowflake. You can get a vintage Rolex that Clive, the watch wrangler, can secure for you, up to $5,000 money, right? They could give every adult male American a watch for next Christmas if they followed my guidelines and enacted my programs. $5 billion is a drop in the bucket. You got that right. USA gave $41 billion to foreign countries. Can you imagine? If people own homes, then they will take care of the home. And if they don't, you get them out of there and get somebody in that will. 2.3 trillion was missing from the Pentagon. Oh, that's funny. Clive is in the house. Clive probably doesn't want to come in here and give his opinion on this because this is very controversial, and they would probably hunt him down. And I think he's a lawyer, so I think he probably has to stay away from these hot button topics. But I just figured I'd do a little something different here. I went on record about 10 years ago or something on the healthcare thing when it became a big thing. And I outlined my program for solving that whole problem. And of course, they haven't done any of what I suggested. They haven't implemented any of my plans, and my plans would have absolutely worked. It would have gotten to the point where healthcare would have been as commonplace as a McDonald's. Across the street from the McDonald's would be like a walk-in healthcare clinic where you could just go in and get whatever you need and just pay with cash, and it would be affordable. And that would be how readily available quality healthcare would be if they followed my program. We would have the best healthcare in the world. Yes, but would the wall keep out AC3? There you go. Now what? See, I'm not up on all you guys' terms and stuff. What is AC3? Is that like a rock group or something? Blue shirt is laughing. See, Clive like throws out all these terms and stuff to show how I'm not like hip and with it, and where I don't like know what all the cool stuff is. You know, they could give Archie Luxury one of the places on the border. He could hang out on the border. You know, he could broadcast live. They'd have fiber optics, so he'd have a good internet connection. He's going to lose his place anyway. He's going to be homeless anyway. He could come over and he could broadcast live from the border. What do you think about that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to put a link in the chat in case anybody wants to come in here and you know, like put their you know what on the line. I'm making a sacrifice here. I'm taking my chances. If you all want to come in, there's the link in the chat. You can come in and take your chances with me. I'm one state away from the border, so no. I wonder if, Clive, share in the chat, is it really an issue out west, or do people just not really care? I mean, is security at the border something people really care about there, or is it just blown out of proportion to where people really don't care about it? Because I'm a long way from the border, so I don't know. I mean, I have no idea if it's a big deal. And when I'm in Florida, it's really not a big deal there. It's not like they're swimming in from Cuba or something. I mean, it's not really that big a deal in Florida. So I don't know if it's a big deal in Texas or other places. He says they do all our shitty jobs down here. Well, they do a lot of those jobs up here too. I have a lot of respect for people that come in and work hard. I have a lot of respect for them. I just don't have a lot of respect for the drug dealers and the human traffickers. Wouldn't Obamacare have worked? Trump ditched. No, it wouldn't work. Here's the Thomas. Here's the problem. Whenever you have something that's expensive, you have to work on the supply side of the equation. You have to increase the supply because obviously the demand is already there. That's why it's expensive in the first place. The reason it's expensive is there's demand, right? But not enough supply. If you increase the supply, the costs will go down. If you increase the demand, which is what Obamacare did, Obamacare just made it so everybody could go for health care, right? hey, go get a checkup. Hey, you don't feel nothing's wrong with you? Go get a checkup anyway. We want to make sure you're okay. I kept getting letters from my provider telling me to come in for a checkup, right? And so it increased demand, but it didn't do anything to increase supply. As a matter of fact, it decreased supply because some doctors started getting out of the business because they didn't want to keep up with all the paperwork and stuff. So some doctors just said the hell with it and they just retired. So you did the opposite of what you should have done. You increased demand, but you kept supply the same or reduced it. Therefore, prices are going to go up. And so, no, it was the exact opposite, which is typical government. They do the exact opposite of what they should do. Make Archie go away. It's a big deal here in Texas. In what way, Samuel? Is it a positive big deal or a negative big deal? Ain't a whole bunch of white guys wanting to stand on a roof and do tarring. We hear those arguments up here in Maryland too, because they use them to pick apples and stuff like that, illegals. But hey, high school kids used to do the work. So people used to do the work, right? So I don't know that that's a valid argument. And I did a lot of things when I was young. When I was in high school and pre-high school, matter of fact, I sealed driveways with that tar stuff. I mean, I did anything I could do to hustle and get some money. And so that's probably one of the reasons why the work ethic has kind of gone down the tubes for a lot of young people in this country, is they're not doing those kinds of jobs. And that's what they used to do, is those kinds of jobs. I worked at McDonald's, I did the night shift. I cleaned up all the crap, till 4 a.m. I mean, that's the kind of work that we used to do. But now the kids are too lazy to do it. So I think that's probably hurt our work ethic, relying on all the illegals to do all the, what jobs. Let's see that Grand Seiko Titan, man. Titan. And it's getting harder to wait for mine. Hey, Samuel, why don't you come on in? I put the link in the chat. Why don't you come on in and talk about it? Are you scared because we're talking about something controversial here? I'll go ahead and send the link to you. I'll go ahead and compose an email here. See if I can do this. Show link, and I'll send it to Clive too. I don't think he's going to come in, but you never know. And I did put it in the chat, so I did that. Okay. All right. Okay. So now let me get back to the chat here, because things are just out of control here. Only one party does not want to hear what you're saying, Craig. I think you're on the same side. No, both parties, trust me. The Republicans don't want to solve any problems either, because the same thing. The reason that they're in power, and the reason they have power, is they've got control over the money. Okay, so the lobbyists want to pay them, and they got control of regulations and all that. So the lobbyists want to pay them to do what they want them to do. They're all corrupt. They're all on the take. Both parties, man. Trust me, they are. Let's see the Grand Seiko Titan. Okay. All right. That is what happened in the UK, though. What happened in the UK? Obamacare did not cover horn removal. I'll tell you what, that white goat tried to attack me again today, and I kicked him in the head, and he thought twice about it. He said, maybe I'm not going to attack Craig again today. I live by the border, San Diego. Problem is our elected officials don't have to buy the carnage and fallout. In other words, they don't need to suffer. So I guess that's what you're saying. One reason Schumer won't fund the wall, Trump. Well, yeah, it's politics. Absolutely, it's politics. But that's what that's what it always is. Um, Grand Seiko Titan. Yeah, that Titan, man. This is the Titan right here. Absolutely, the Titan. I'm in Arizona. It's a big concern. In what way? Okay. Agree with your health. I agree with your healthcare plan. Please try to talk with Trump because we are minions and we do not count. Um, they're not going to go with my plan because my plan would put a lot of big entities out of business. Can you imagine the insurance companies, the lobby that they have, getting them out of the thing, the lawyers? Can you imagine the lobbying they have? I mean, Clive can tell you how powerful lawyers are. They're never going to go for my plan. It just like we're never going to go to a flat nationwide sales tax and get rid of the IRS because all the accountants and all those folks want to keep a real complicated tax code so that you have to pay them to figure all that stuff out. And when you get audited, you got to pay them to, and lawyers and all that. And I mean, it's all just a corrupt mess. I no longer care about the border. It's too late. Seriously. Once Texas flips blue, the U.S. will be a one-party state to the extent it isn't now. I live in New Mexico, 100% Democrat. We are screwed. Oh my gosh. No, not scared, Samuel says. I'll try in a bit. In my opinion, it's very much needed. We need the wall. Drugs and crime are coming in too fast. Well, there you go. And Clive's message was retracted. The Republicans are beholden to the Chamber of Commerce and a lot of other people. They're all beholden to a lot of people. The model of the GS that Craig is wearing was named the Titan last night. Well, there you go. The Titan. Look at that. Look at the Titan. Look at that puppy. Look how it reflects the light. Oh, boy, it's awesome. I'll tell you, in that sweeping second hand, it just never gets old. It never gets old. Craig is the alpha goat. Yeah, the white one was trying to show its dominance, and I kind of like put it in its place. Human traffickers are the worst. I've been saying we need to get really tough on them, sounding harsh, but they are stealing your kids. We have to do something now. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty nasty. That's why, I mean, I live in gated communities. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put up with that nonsense. I need security. I don't want to be, around a bunch of criminals. Congress needs a NASCAR rule. Politicians should have to wear patches on their clothing showing who's paying them. Clive. There you go. If you hurt, message hid for review, Joe's message. You die on the spot if you hurt or steal our kid. I'll put that on there, even though they might demonetize me for that comment, but I'll take the arrows. Human traffickers are the worst. Okay, got that. If you hurt or steal kids, you die on the spot. That will never happen here. We have to do something besides put them in prison, pay for them for years. Bullshit on that. Well, there you go. Yeah, I think there should be certain crimes that summary execution I think is appropriate for. I think violent rape is grounds for a summary execution. And I'm not talking about, 2 days later the girl says she was raped. I'm talking about, an actual real violent rape. The police should have the authority to take the rapist and put him on his knees, next to the victim and shoot him in the back of the head. I think that'd be appropriate. So yeah. certain crimes, I think that is definitely warranted. Congress needs term limits. No more career politicians. Twitter is where I express, been kicked out twice now. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's why I almost never talk politics. I do this once every 8 years, folks, so enjoy it, because this is going to be it. Maybe Seiko was paying Nixon. He was wearing a Seiko. Craig, what tutor are you getting for Christmas? Can you imagine somebody getting a tutor? I mean, they've got to like open up the package and they've got to act like they really like it. I mean, they're like, you know, their girlfriend or their wife or whatever, you know, buys them this tutor, and they open the box and they look and they, you know, they have to like fake a smile and, you know, I mean, it's really sad. And then they've got to wear the thing and act like they like it. I don't know if you guys ever saw the series Columbo with Peter Falk. That's a great series of whatever you call them, movies or whatever. There was one where he got a new raincoat. He always wore that raincoat that he had, right? It was actually a well-made, I think it was like made in Britain, you know, it wasn't a Burberry, but it was a well-made coat that Peter Falk had picked up himself. And he wore it in the series. It was all disheveled and all wrinkled and all, but it was a high quality coat, right? And so anyway, his wife gave him a new coat, and he wore it, and it was hideous, right? And he wore it for like part of a show and maybe part of 2 shows, and he kept like leaving it behind. He'd like leave, and somebody would come running out, "Oh, you forgot your coat," and he'd like, "Oh, okay." And finally, I don't remember how he got rid of it, but finally he was successful in getting rid of this gift, right? That's what somebody will do with the tutor. They'll like keep leaving it behind somewhere, and somebody will keep saying, "Oh, hey, you left your watch," and then one time they'll be successful, and they'll get away from the damn thing. Some Craig, some not. Yes, both, but not all. Whatever all that is. Okay. Hillary took money from whoever. Both Seiko and Nixon are watch brands. Who's paying who? Okay. GS needs to cut it out on the limited editions, please. Yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous. First of all their watches are limited edition because they don't make very many watches. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Something is coming. There you go. Something big. Okay. Clive has another retracted message. Forgot that Nixon is a watch brand, so maybe Jimmy Carter took from Nixon. There you go. All right. Well, I think we've managed to solve the world's problems. Clive doesn't want to come in to the show, and Sam doesn't want to come into the show to say hi. And oh, by the way, Sarah released a video on the Facebook page. If any of y'all use Facebook, if you go to cowgirlslive.com, it's pointed to the Facebook page right now. Go comment on her video, please. Say that, give her some encouragement. I can't come on. I've got pants on. Standards. There you go. Problem solved indeed. Well, there you go. So, what else can I say? Oh, Thursday, I've got to run out and run a few errands. And so the show, I might do a show, but it might be later in the day. Problem solved. I finally had to wash my pants. Well, you know what we do in Florida is we always wear swimsuits. So that's never an issue because you're always swimming and then you rinse off, you know, well, you rinse off before you go in the pool too. You know, rinse off with fresh water and then you go swimming. And then after you swim, you rinse off with fresh water again. And then you just lay out until it's dry or whatever, and you just repeat the process every day. So you never have to worry about wearing any kind of pants or having any kind of pants cleaned or anything. We just wear swimsuits all the time. You can play golf in them. You can play tennis in them. It doesn't make any difference. There's no standards anymore, Clive. Nobody has any standards anymore. They don't dress for anything. We used to have to dress in all white, when we played tennis on the grass, we'd have to dress in all white and all that stuff. They don't have any of those standards anymore. How much does Super Chat for you to grow large sideburns? They'd be gray. That's the problem. That's the problem. I shaved today. I put a new blade in the razor and I shaved. And I'm still not getting the lather quite right. I'm either getting a little too wet or a little too dry, but it's working. I mean, I'm getting a great shave, and my skin feels a lot better than when I used to shave the old way with the Harrys. It's amazingly how much better it feels. I don't know if it's the soap or the blade or why it feels better, but the end result is it feels much better. I used to kind of not look forward to shaving. Now I actually look forward to it. That's pretty amazing. But I got 4 days out of the blade. How many days do you usually get, Clive, out of a blade before you feel like it starts like pulling and needs to be replaced? They're begging you to do a live stream later, Clive. Oh, these people are amazing. Thanks for coming on. Well, there you go. My Christmas GS was broken by the Seiko AD while sizing it. Oh my gosh. Result is 6 scratched up links. 6 scratched up links and 12 Phillips screws now instead of normal screws. You're kidding me. Oh my gosh. How could they have done all that? What grinders? Man, that's a bad story. I would be livid. Yeah, Clive, please live stream tonight. Come on, everybody. Beg him. Beg him. Merry Christmas, Craig. Which brand of new blade? The blade that I'm using right now are the Vikings. I haven't gotten the whatchamacallits yet, those real sharp ones yet from Japan. I forget the name of them now. But anyway, I might get those. I like the Vikings, tell you the truth. Or should I appear with El Diablo Gorgio? Clive 4, LOL. 3 or 4, depending on how smooth it is. Okay. Yeah, I think 4 is going to be about my limit on how many days. I think you're about right. This was 4 days. I had gotten 4 shaves out of my one that I just replaced, and it wasn't feeling quite the way I like at the 4th shave. It got the job done, but I didn't want to go for 5. I'll put it that way. They worked very hard at, yeah, they did. They had to go out of the way to do all that nasty stuff to that watch. Feathers, yeah, feathers. Yeah, I haven't gotten the feathers yet. Clive, do you suggest I do it, or do you suggest I just stick with the Vikings? The Vikings have gotten some good reviews. Oh, here I got a call coming in again. See if I can. This is my German buddy. He calls at the same time. What in the hell is going on? I told him that I do live broadcasts at this time, and he calls anyway at the same time. Oh well. Let him go into voicemail. That's the way we handle that. I'm trying to think what else. So he needs to get off your lawn. Hell yeah, he's going to get off my lawn. Damn right, man. I want to put up with a bunch of nonsense. Oh boy. So anyway, I'm waiting for Clive to answer if he thinks I should buy the feathers or not. because I got to buy like the next batch, I got to buy in bulk. I'll buy like 200 blades. So I want to make sure I get what I want. Stick with the Vikings, Craig. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Damn sharp they are. But I heard they don't last as long. So that's interesting. If I only get 4 days out of the Vikings, I wonder how many days I'd get out of the feathers. Just got on. What do you think, Craig? Stock market crash by New Year. Well, my gosh, it's already crashing. I don't know how much lower it can go. I guess it can go down another 20% unless we're going to go into a real serious correction. No, they're sharp, not smooth. So you would say just stay away from them. Just stay with the Vikings. What do you use, Clive? The good news is Bitcoin's been going up here recently. So at least something's been going up. More dealers telling me Rolex are slowing down. Really? Really? So we're getting some inside information. Well, when I get back up north, I will roll into my local AD, my local small town AD, and try to get some inside information from them. Because I've been thinking about buying a 40 mil day date from them anyway. So I got to go in and talk to them. Can you imagine? I told them I would want one with a black dial and loomed hands. And I said, let me know when you get one in and I'll take a look at it. And if I like it, I'll buy it. Right. And they said, oh, well, we never get that one in. I mean, it's a pretty good looking watch. I mean, what the hell do they have against that watch? It's a good looking watch. Pull it up, folks. It's a good looking watch. What the hell, man? They think they got a sale. They should get the damn thing in. Those things aren't easy to sell. And they sell those and they get a bigger allocation of the sports watches. All over Red Rover for the Rolex investors with their safety deposit box, steel sports queens. I get 7 to 8 shaves out of feathers and like them a lot, but that's just me. No way of knowing if they'll work for you. My beard is pretty gnarly. It screws up blades quicker than normal, I think. Rolex AD, Datejust RS. All right, I'm going to pull up a picture of this watch I'm talking about. And you guys tell me. I think it's fantastic looking. I don't understand what the problem is. Give me a second here. Oh, for crying out loud, if I could learn how to spell, this would be great. Date 40 millimeter black. Well, let me see if I can pull up a good picture here. They had one on the Rolex website, for gosh sakes. So, I mean, it can't be a redheaded stepchild watch. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can share the... Hold on. Let me see if I can share the screen here and show you guys this. I don't understand. I mean, what the hell's wrong with stocking that watch? I mean, they generally stock one anyway. I think that's a good looking watch. And the reason I'm leaning towards the black dial with the loomed hands and indices like that is I think that'll be the most readable of the possibilities. I think that's the most legible. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the chat what you guys think about that, as Archie would say. That's the watch right there, 40 mil, date 8 with a black dial and the loomed hands. That's the one I asked my AD about, okay? And it's like, I mean, they're like, no, we're not going to get that watch for you. No, screw you. Okay. Okay. 30K is too much for a watch. Very handsome watch. Okay, let me see what else anybody else says here. I like to keep myself a blank slate. No piercings, tattoos, or facial hair for me. Well, that's a good move. That's pretty smart. Um, uh, okay. I'm pro beard. Okay, there you go, says Sam. That's what Hillary said. Okay. I don't shave unless the government tells me to. I'm in the reserve, so it's once a month now instead of every day on active duty. Okay, well, there you go. I like the key. Okay. Datejust are selling well to Asians. Think about how many Datejust are part of the 700,000 certified movements. Okay. Very handsome watch, Craig. Okay. 30K is too much for a watch. Sweet watch. Love that watch. That's a stunner. Personally, I prefer the rose gold. See, I like the regular 18 karat gold because it'll match other 18 karat gold easily. You don't have to have everything be rose gold. Definitely an F-off watch. Gold watches are not my thing, but nice for those who it is. Oh, yeah, you can't, David, trust me, you can't beat an 18 karat gold watch. It's just super cool. And you can get something a little more conservative than a day date, like the 18 karat gold stunner that I have now. You can get something like that if you don't want something quite as flashy. Row your Lex. Wear collared shirts every day. Life is too short to dress like you're coming out of the gym every day. Oh boy. 29,000 did seem a lot of money, but it's still a stunner. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for them to get down to 25. They're getting close to that. They're getting close to the $25,000 range. See, those have only been out since 2015, I think. So they haven't had enough time to depreciate the way they need to. Yeah, Craig, you're not wearing a frayed collared shirt and you've got curtains. Again, standards. Don't walk around Baltimore at night with a gold stunner, though. Unless you have the Bitcoin Meister, Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, with you, because he knows all the thugs there, and they leave him alone. By the way, you guys, you should follow Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister. I have the opportunity to buy a very nice date 2007 with all the papers and boxes, full President's bracelet, fits an 8-inch wrist for 15K. It's close to mint. What do you think? I'm 50-50 on it. 2007, so that's going to have the solid center links. 15K. Close to mint. What's not mint about it? Fill me in. What's the issue? Because if it was actually mint in full box and papers and all that, I would say you're good to go at 15. And Craig is wearing pants. I'm wearing a swimsuit right now. My go-to. Sage advice. Do you have carpet beetles and decaying legs? You do have carpet beetles and decaying legs, right? I've got the decaying legs, but I don't think I have the carpet beetles. Everything on me is decaying. When you get past 60, Clive, trust me, everything starts decaying. Yes, pyramid is upside down for Archie. Much better price. No issues. It has diamond dial. No, I don't like diamond. I don't like the diamond dials. It depends on the dial. Send me a picture, but if it's, some of those are just kind of nasty looking. I would be reticent about that whole diamond dial thing. but I'd have to see it. Some of them are okay. Heard Dave Ramsey say the other day Bitcoin might survive. I was actually surprised to hear that position. Well, that's amazing. Yeah, I am surprised that he said that. Can you imagine? I mean, all these people that said not to buy Bitcoin back when it was like 25 bucks. if I had listened to him, and didn't buy, and I'd be pissed, right? And all the people that didn't buy because of him, I mean, they got to all be like cussing Dave Ramsey under their breath. I could have been freaking rich, you idiot. What the hell did you tell me not to buy Bitcoin for? It was $25 a Bitcoin. Now it's 4,000. What, were you crazy? Oh man, they got to be pissed. If you bought a Date 840, would the gold stunner be out? That's a good question. Probably not, because the good thing about the gold stunner is it doesn't have to be in the regular rotation. It's going to keep running. And when I'm wearing a tight, one of those French cuff shirts that's kind of tight, the Date 840 might not cut it. It might not slip under. So I might have to have the gold stunner for certain use cases. I'm probably not going to get the Date 840 just because I'm just so spoiled with the accuracy of the Grand Seikos that if I get it, it'll be just kind of like on a whim, I'll put it this way: if Bitcoin hits 50,000, I'll celebrate by buying one. How's that? So I'll sell like less than a Bitcoin and buy one. AC3 was looking into currency alternatives when he thought he was going to jail, i.e. Bitcoin. I'll tell you what, everybody should have a stash of Bitcoin in this day and age. It's the only real, true, hard money. It's the only unconfiscatable hard money. So yes, everybody should have a stash of Bitcoin, in my opinion. Everything else the government can easily get their hands on. It's not so easy for them to get their hands on Bitcoin if it's properly secured. Factory diamond hour markers, Craig, on a champagne dial. Send me a picture, my name at gmail.com, and I'll reply back to you. It might be a go, but I'll have to see it. Diamond dials are a bit much. Yeah, it depends on the dial. Some of them are okay, but not many. Date 8 is only 11 or 12 millimeters thick. It's at least 12, blue shirt. I think the Date 840 is 12. And depending on how tight the shirt cuff is, it can be a problem. Trust me, it can be. Remember, I've been the Date 8 route for 40 years, and I know sometimes I had problems with it. See, all cuffs are not created equal. Some are tighter than others. And again, my wrist is like 7.25 to 7.5 inches. And see, the cuffs are in some cases are a little bit tighter than they normally would be. If I had a smaller wrist, it wouldn't be as big of an issue. So it depends on not only the size of the cuff, but the size of your wrist. So there's a couple of variables at work there. Barrett Clooney, Holy Grail, Day Date with meteorite dial. Okay. Dave recently had a poor guy call up who was putting his 6-year-old daughter through gymnastics. He took a second job and was paying up to $500 a month. No wonder so many people are broke. So he was paying $500 a month for his daughter's gymnastics? Is that what you're saying? Buttcoin. Buttcoin. Yeah, you should start a coin called Buttcoin. That'd be a good coin. Yeah, I think 10 years from now, there's going to be two groups of people. Write this down, folks. This is a prediction. There are going to be two groups of people. There's going to be those people who have Bitcoin, and those people who wish they had more Bitcoin. That's it. Everybody will wish they had more, is my point. And everybody's going to have some in 10 years, right? Everybody will have some. Some people will have only bought like $20 worth or something, right? But everybody will have some 10 years from now. But everybody will wish they had more. Everybody will be telling stories about how, yeah, I heard about it back when it was $4,000 and I didn't know, I was hemming and hawing and I didn't buy it. Everybody will have stories about how they didn't buy it. You must wear really tight cuffs. My JLC Master Ultra Thin Small Seconds solves that problem, 7 millimeters thin. Well, yeah, my Gold Stunner is 10 millimeters, and it goes under even my tightest French cuff shirt. Some of my French cuff shirts are a little bit on the tight side. Follow Dave Ramsey. They look good to be a little bit tight. It looks good. When they're real loose, it doesn't look real good. So I mean, it's all trade-offs. Okay. Follow Dave Ramsey, and you will do well. He's not a risk taker. Yeah, but you could have done a lot better if you bought Bitcoin at $25 when he was telling people not to. Yeah, you'd have been a lot better off in that case not listening to him. But I agree. Most of what he says is spot on, but he was dead wrong on Bitcoin. And what was sad was he wasn't even willing to learn about it. He didn't even research it. He didn't know anything about it, right? And he was just dismissing it out of hand without even knowing about it. And that's what's sad. He was lumping it in with all cryptocurrency, and most of them are all scams, right? I mean, he's right to say stay away from cryptocurrency, right? But Bitcoin is a horse of a different color. Bitcoin's the real deal. And he was telling people to stay away from that. And that's where I think he made the mistake. So there's that. Yeah. But Craig, stainless steel is a precious metal. Rolex and Artemis told me so. Or is that 40.90? Hindsight is 2020. Yeah, but the point is, he's got videos out there from years ago when he was straight up telling people not to buy it, blah, 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 when it was like $25 a unit. And so, you know, he should have just kept his mouth shut. It's in my opinion, it's better not to say anything. You know, if you don't really know what the hell you're talking about, you should just not say anything about it, right? You should just say, I don't know. You should be capable of saying, I just don't know anything about it. You know, I can't tell you if it's a good investment or not because I really haven't researched it. I just don't know enough about it. That's what he should have said. There'd be nothing wrong with saying that, as opposed to saying, don't do it, don't buy it. Daniel Craig is an ambassador for Omega. I guarantee you he's not wearing a Rolex these days. Excellent listener. Risk is relative. It's not something to avoid, but rather to manage. Yeah, sometimes sometimes you take a risk, and the only reason that I bought it back in the day is I liked the concept. I didn't think it was going to succeed. I thought there's so many barriers to it, and there's still a ton of barriers to Bitcoin ultimately succeeding, and it very well may not. But I like the whole concept of having hard money that can't be tampered with, that can't be faked, that can't be confiscated by the government, that can't be hacked. I like this concept of having somewhere to put some of your value, some of your money, and have it be absolutely secure and safe and portable across any borders, and can't be monkeyed with by the governments. That concept to me is fascinating. And so I bought it really just to show my support. And the fact that it's gone up a ton since then is a huge bonus. So I'm pleased with that. But if I'd have lost everything that I invested in it, it wouldn't change my life. So it'd be okay. I'm starting to get into cryptocurrency. I'm starting to find coins and cryptos that I break into looking for watches. Crips. There you go. Hey, Craig, would you have time to check out the link of the date, Rolex day date, the same model I'm looking at for 15K? Okay, let me show this link. And I'll take a look at it. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let me see if I can, I'll show it. I'll show the link. That's one of the nicer looking gold dials. I still would rather have the loomed indices personally, but that wouldn't be a deal killer, that one that you just cited. So yeah, that's not, is that the only issue you found with it? Craig, what are some good villages and counties close to DC and Maryland that are still affordable for a single young professional? Well, I would recommend Frederick County. That's where I am, and there's a lot of, you can still get some places that are affordable in Frederick County, Maryland, and it's a great county and it's growing. So I think your real estate investment would be safe, and it's a great place to live. Daniel Craig wears both Omega, oh shoot, and Rolex. Well, there you go. He definitely also wears Rolex. Pictures of that can easily be found. And didn't the chairman of Patek, not sure if it was Patek Fleet, wear a GS at a press conference? Oh, you're kidding me. Damn, that was a mistake. Omega. Are you going to get the new GS GMT 9F? I looked at that watch, and it's interesting, but no, I'm not going to get it. But yeah, it would be something I would consider if I didn't already have the Titan. The Titan. The Titan. The neat thing about this watch is it's just going to run and 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 run. There's no batteries to replace. There's no nothing to do, no servicing, no nothing. It's just going to run and 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 be accurate the whole time. That's what's really cool about the spring drive. It's going to literally run circles around anything else. Didn't you say that it's technically impossible for every millionaire on earth to own one Bitcoin? That's correct, because there's 32,000 millionaires or 36,000? Anyway, there's more than 30,000 millionaires, and there's only going to be 30 million millionaires. There's 36 million millionaires, okay? And there's only going to be about, most experts say 15 to 16 million Bitcoin, because there's going to be 21 million produced, but a bunch of them have already been lost. And once you lose access to the Bitcoin, nobody else can get access to them. It's not like they're reissued, right? So like, for example, if I own 100 Bitcoin and I lose my private keys, or let's say I die and I don't arrange for my heirs to have the private keys, to have the access to my Bitcoin, then it's lost. I mean, nobody else can get access to it. If you don't have the private keys, you can't get access to it. So it sits there dead on the blockchain. It's still there. It's still sitting there, but nobody can move it. Nobody can access it. Nobody can spend it, in other words. So it's out of circulation. So estimates are that there is only going to be about 15 million or so in circulation. And that number will continue to dwindle as people lose access to their keys, because some people are stupid, right? So not only is it a limited asset, the number of units, but it will be a dwindling asset as people lose access to keys, and there's less and less in circulation. So yeah, I mean, if it's desirable to have it, big if, and if it's so limited in supply, what is price going to do? It's got to go up. I mean, that's just the way of the world. This is the first real hard currency that's ever existed. The next best thing was gold. Gold was a hard currency. And the problem with gold is they're always discovering new ways of getting more gold out of the ground. And so the supply is always increasing. And we don't know what the limit is. We don't know how much gold will actually exist. Whereas with Bitcoin, we absolutely know. And the other problem with gold is it's hard to transport, okay? And it can be confiscated. So if I'm taking it across the border or something, the authorities can take that from me. Whereas if I'm crossing the border and I got my private keys in my head, they don't even know I have it if I'm smart. And so they can't confiscate the Bitcoin. Now, of course, they could torture you and all that and try to get you to give the information, but hopefully they don't know that you have it in the first place. So, by the way, for the record, I sold all my Bitcoin. I don't have any more Bitcoin. I wish I had some, but I don't have any. For the record. Let's see. Champagne dollar is harder to read with the gold hands. Yeah, exactly. That's why I want the black one with the gold. Frederick is almost as bad as Montgomery County for price of homes. Well, no, you can still get a lot more home in Frederick than Montgomery County, and you can still get land up in Frederick County too. The day has issues, has no issues other than diamond dial. Well, then yeah, I would say okay. If you got good eyes, so the contrast between the hands and the face isn't as big a deal until you get older. That would be surprising if it's true, but if it is, I stand corrected. If what's true, Samuel, what? I don't understand what the question was. The ones coming out in January don't have the star on the dial. It means they are accurate to 10 seconds a year instead of 5 with the star. That's correct. The 5 was a limited edition special movement that's tuned a little closer, but 5 seconds or 10 seconds a year, that's still like, dead accurate. I mean, that's still fantastic. That is the important part. If you lose what you invest and doesn't hurt you or change your life, it's no big deal, then worth the gamble. Yeah, and again, I really think that the reason to buy Bitcoin is because you believe in the whole concept and you believe in what these people are doing. And I don't think it's good to just buy it just for speculation because you think it's going to go up in value. I think it's better if you're buying it because you really believe in the whole the whole concept. And then you're much more comfortable with having a strong hand and holding through the ups and downs. That's what the Bitcoin Meister talks about all the time is, you know, you got to have a strong hand. I mean, it's a roller coaster ride, right? But if you're really convinced that it's the way to go and you've got convictions and you know, then it's not a big deal. You're happy to hold on because you're literally in it for the long haul. I'm from Southern California, but I'm currently in Chicago. I'd rather look elsewhere than California because the days of owning a house and having a good standard of living there are dead. Well, there you go. Yeah, you got to be making big money out there. AC3 is a 100-air. Oh, geez. Hi, Thomas. In person, the day date is very easy to read. The picture doesn't do the watch justice. It's a beauty. Well, there you go. Well, you know, I could always read my day date until I got older, and I was in denial as far as not wearing my reading glasses all the time. That's when it started to where I couldn't really read it. But if I wear my reading glasses, I can still read it fine. So it just depends on, you know, at some point I'll probably bite the bullet and be wearing glasses all the time. You know, I mean, it's just the way it goes. So then it won't be an issue, at least until I get to the point where I can't even see even with the glasses. So then that'll be another thing. It's always a thing. I moved away from the Philadelphia suburbs to Rock Hall, Maryland. I don't know where that is. On the Chesapeake, and love it. Okay, cool. A friend of mine lives over that way. Great move to Chesapeake. It's all gone pear-shaped. You can transport the gold across the border using Bitcoin. There you go. Clive, you better buy at least one Bitcoin and hold it, because, you know, you don't want to be the guy that 10 years from now says, damn, Craig told me to buy one Bitcoin and hold it for 10 years, and I didn't listen to Craig. Made a quick profit in heating oil futures, got overconfident and let my brokers reinvest it in another risky investment and lost it all. Now I'm extremely conservative. Well, there you go. It's all over Red Rover. But I thought you were going to your Bitcoin until 2024. Officially, I have no Bitcoin. I've sold it all. It's all gone. I own no Bitcoin. So don't try to torture me. Don't try to bend my fingernails back to get my private key, because I don't have any Bitcoin. So how's that? Is that convincing? When did you sell your Bitcoin? 4 months ago. I sold all of it. You sold all your BTC. Thought you were waiting until the halving in 2024. Yeah, but I got a weekend and I needed to buy some groceries, so I sold all my Bitcoin. I don't have any Bitcoin. I'm never going to buy any Bitcoin again. And so don't try to torture me to get my Bitcoin keys, because it isn't going to do you any good. So there's my official position on Bitcoin. Ex-wives, don't try to come after Bitcoin, because I don't have any Bitcoin. A gentleman I know is looking at houses in LA with his spouse, 800 grand for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath by LAX. You know, with the airplanes going over and the dishes rattling. That's great. Samuel Gray. If I had to nitpick an already perfect watch, I do wish the GS Titan had an applied GS on the dial. Your thoughts? The GS looks fantastic on my dial. It's, what are you talking about applied? It's applied. Looks like it might be gold. You want me to give you a close-up? Let me get as close up as I can on it. Give me a second here. This particular camera can only get so close, but I'm going to get as close as I can. I'm going to have to refocus. So let's see here. Where's the focus? Trying to get focused on it. That's about as good as I can get. And I'm sorry I'm moving it around, but I'm holding it with my hand. About as good as I can get. Sorry about that, but the lighting's not great either. So, all right, now I got to focus back. Oh, for crying out loud! Now what have I done? Now I got to refocus my focus point. Give me a second here, folks. This is what live TV is all about. For crying out loud, people. Let me get this thing focused. See, I got to focus on the chair. It's about where I'll be. About there. Whoops. I just took a picture. Just took a picture with the camera. Okay. All right. So, all right. Applied. Okay. 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 Isn't wearing a solid gold 8/8 a bit too vain? No, it's fantastic. I wore one, like I say, for 40 years. It's fantastic. They're gorgeous watches. Absolutely stunning. Yep, please, it just looks like printed, not applied. No, it doesn't look printed at all on mine. It's definitely setting up on it. I don't know if it's 18 karat gold or what it's made of, but it looks fantastic and it does not look printed. No shame in changing investment strategy. I'm surprised you were so strong on holding it until 2020. Excellent listener. I'm giving misdirection. I'm telling people I don't have any Bitcoin because I don't want people to know I have Bitcoin. Okay. So just keep it between you and me that I actually still have my Bitcoin. All right. Don't tell anybody, for God's sakes. It's a security thing. You know what I'm saying? That's applied with gold markers with loom. I guess it's just super thin. It's not that thin. It looks real good, Samuel. You got to go take another look, man. Everything you say about Bitcoin seems that you still own it. Saying you'll buy a date if it hits 50K. Saying you're going to hold it until 2025. A bit confusing. Tom, it's called misdirection. Don't think too hard on it, okay? Just between you and me. All right. So there you go. Tell you what, I've got a half a Bitcoin. I'm going to hold it until 2030. How's that? Till 2030. Oh boy. I think a Rolex Oyster Petrol 36 white dial would be great for use in every situation. Plus it has a fully brushed Easy Link Oyster bracelet. So no need to worry about scuffing up polished link. Yeah, I don't like the polished links. I don't like the polished links. Out of focus. What happened? Getting dizzy. Is it out of focus now? Let me go back to the Hangout. No. Looks, I guess if I lean forward too much, it's focused on about this point here. So anyway, what do you think about modern rangefinder Leica cameras like the M9, M10? No, a lot of people love the design, lenses, but it isn't higher spec Sony A7, pretty comparable. Yeah, I like the Sonys because I shoot a lot of video. So video. Yeah, I'd stay with the Sonys, and I'd wait and see what they come out with for the next A7S, the replacement for the A7S Mark II that I have now. Wait and see what they come out with. I think it's going to be amazing. It's just my guess. And I will buy one like that. A7S Mark III. Keep an eye out for that. Poor Craig, no more Bitcoin for you, but I guess you have to deal with peasant paper dollars nowadays. Clive Watchranger, great live stream. Have to fist out. Okay, he's out of here. Clive is out of here, so you guys can all go to watch his stream. They're going to all like flee out of here. They're all headed your way, Clive, over to your stream. Nope, you're good. Nope. Take care, Clive. Hope you're streaming tonight. I just said that. Yeah, they're going to all be going over there. No loyalty whatsoever. You know, they'll just immediately go over to see Clive. Can we trust what you say about Bitcoin with all your misdirection? No, you really shouldn't trust what anybody says about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the apex predator, okay? Bitcoin is the honey badger. So Bitcoin is what Bitcoin is. Someone tried to steal my Bitcoin codes, and I told them, and this is where they'll find you. You better do that, I'm telling you, because that's serious business. That's serious, serious business. Hello from down under. It's Christmas here. Sydney and Melbourne house prices dropped 10%. Still got a way to go. Yeah, they had a house bubble down there for sure. Craig, one good thing is where I've got my house down in Sarasota is rents are strong down there. So I'm able to get nice strong rents there, even if the price isn't going up that much right now. It's still renting very well, so that's a big plus. Nice revenue stream from rent. Craig, I have a Sony NEX3N, also called the A5000 RPC sensor mirrors camera. Should I upgrade to an A6300 or just hold off and save for an A7? I like the A6500. I've got the A6500. That's what I'm using right here, right now. So for an APS-C, and the important thing is to have a good lens on it. I've got the 24 mil Sony Zeiss lens on here. That's a fantastic lens that lives on that camera most of the time. I also sometimes use the 70 to 200 lens on it if I need breach, right? But generally speaking, this 24 millimeter f1.8 Sony Zeiss lens is on there all the time. And so that's a great combo. The A6500 with that lens is a great combo. So I would hesitate to go to the full frame unless you really want to spend the money, because a good lens for that A7 is going to be expensive. So you're going to be looking at, you know, quite a bit of expense. So unless you really think you need to go that route, I would stay with the, I'd go with an A6500 be what I would do. And I would actually wait and see what they come out with next. They're due to come out with an upgrade to that camera pretty soon. And I would wait and see what they come out with, because even if you still go with the A6500, the price will drop if they come out with a new one, right? So I'd wait and see when they announce their new one. It'll probably be early in the year, springtime probably at the latest, I would think. Frolix went back to the older non-maxi case style. Would you be tempted to get one? Not anymore. Not with the Titan on my wrist. No, that ship has sailed. This thing is just super comfortable. And like I say, the shape of the case and everything, I mean, it's even better than the old Rolex sub cases. I mean, it's better in every way. I mean, look at that thing. Look at the way it catches the light and stuff. I mean, it's just freaking gorgeous. Merry Christmas, Craig. I like the Galileo thermometer on the mantle, classic. Nice misdirection. And smoke and mirrors. Your hands never left your body. Oh, happy 2019. And do you see the Tiffany clock on the left? That's right. Let me see if I can point to it. See if I get here. It is right there. See there? That's a Tiffany clock right there. So there you go. Okay. So what's in the display cabinet behind you? A lot of stuff, some rocks and different things. There's so much stuff around this house. It's a sin how much stuff there is. At some point, well, I don't think I want to give you a tour because then that'll show the thieves what to come in here and get. But this place is like a freaking museum. You wouldn't believe all the stuff in here. It's absolutely ridiculous. But you accumulate stuff over the years and stuff just piles up. So there you go. Well, I think we're going to wrap. I don't know what else there is to talk about. I think once again, we've solved all the world's problems. And I'm going to take one more drink. And tomorrow, I think I'll do a Christmas special tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe we'll talk about you guys, the watches you guys got for Christmas. That'd be a good thing to talk about. See what you guys got. So, so we can call it a day, and we can call it a successful day that we. Well, yeah, thank you. Great live stream. Thank you. And we'll do one more check-in on Bitcoin's down a little bit, $4,059, the official price. And there you go. Samuel says thanks. Great stream. All right, everybody. Until next time, do the right thing out there. That's all.